I am so excited to be diving into these 3 steps to overcome your money block. Money block. What is a money block? Money block, you might have a money block if you feel uncomfortable with the idea of charging for your content. And let's see. I want to be able to get to your questions that you have today. So let's comment below in the comment thread, obviously, with your questions and tag me in them, and I will answer them. That is one thing that I lost going to Zoom, is that I need my phone to see questions. I don't have one on me. Okay, back to the point, Meg. So 3 steps to overcome your money block. So congratulations. You are a spiritually attuned go-getter who is crushing a goal of creating content. So you've written a book, you're writing a book, you've launched the podcast, you've started the vlog, you've finally reached a place where you are confident enough to believe that your content is going to serve other people, and it needs to be out of your mind. It needs to leave you. It needs to expand outside of you and be shared with others. So congratulations. That's a huge breakthrough to start actually executing ideas and creating content. And now you're to a place of, what? I need to charge? I could make this sustainable for my family and I by actually charging for my content? What? I'm a little uncomfortable with money. I'm uncomfortable with charging. I'm uncomfortable, especially if you're coming from a ministry or the nonprofit sector, you're like, oh God, money, that doesn't matter. We'll just do it from the kindness of our hearts. And before we go any further, I will say that you need both free and paid content. This sustains your work. This is great marketing. This is a great service for people. I love creating content, like every Friday, every Sunday at 10 in the morning, and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. This is free content. No one's charged. This is for everybody when I go free and share with you and learn and grow with you. This is free. My podcast that I do with Miranda is free content. We are starting to monetize it now with Patreon, but it's still free for everyone to listen. And free, most of you have free blogs, and then you monetize your books. So both are needed to have to sustain your ministry, a free and a paid parts. And that is, of course, people are going to get a higher return on investment. They're going to get more out of it when they pay for it. But your free stuff is important as well, especially if you're coming from a place of, like many of you in this group, you're coming from a place of serving, of wanting to serve other people. So both are needed. But how to get over your money block and start getting comfortable with charging? I'm going to have 3 tips for you today. The first is to view it as a necessity to your serve. After all, Jesus did. Let me try that. After all, Jesus did. Now, a lot of people don't know about this. I was recently sharing this grappling on this with my missionary grandfather, and he was shocked to know this. It's really interesting, the things we miss in the Bible. In Luke 8, it talks about Joanna, Susanna, and Mary of Magdalene, the Magdalene, if you will. And these 3 women were the main financial supporters for Jesus and his disciples' travels. Say what? Yeah, Joseph of Arimathea was another one. And these 3 women were huge. Without their financial support, Jesus could not have expanded and extended the reach of his ministry like he did. Money is a necessity to your serve. It's not materialistic. It's not selfish that you want it. It is a necessity to your serve. View it as a necessity for your serve. After all, Jesus did. And dive a little deeper into this verse in Luke 8 to explore it further. Stewardship is not synonymous to depriving yourself of what you need in order to serve others well. Like, another necessity that you need, some of you, this is my situation, a necessity that I need in order to serve others well is quality childcare. So I can feel good about going to serve others if I have a trusted quality caretaker to care for my offspring while I'm away. And so stewardship is not, I think so many times we Christians, we get in this poverty mindset that we believe we're supposed to have the lowest quality of everything and we're supposed to be the martyr. And yes, there is obviously in Christian church history, there are times for people to step into the role of martyr. And if that's you, more power to you. Awesome. It might not be everyone's calling, though, to be a martyr, to live from the poverty mindset. It might be part of your calling, might be part of how God wired you or why God has you here to have a family that you want to care for and make sure they are safe and happy while you are also giving yourself to others. And if that's part of your calling, you're going to have to get rid of this mindset that stewardship is synonymous to the poverty mindset. You have to stop thinking that stewardship is synonymous to depriving yourself of what you need in order to serve others well. For some of you, if you're also speakers, if that is the medium that your content takes, what you might need to serve others well is the conference or the institution that's paying you to come speak. It's for them to also pay you to get there the night before, get a good night's sleep in a hotel, wake up fully rested to be engaged in conversation with those you're serving before you go on the stage. So these are things you can negotiate and ask for, that these are the necessities that you need in order to do your job well. And that's stewardship of your energy and of your time and of the company's time that's paying to have you come speak. Isn't it crazy to think of it that way? By asking them, hey, can you pay $87 a night for me to stay at Marriott Garden Inn the night before so I can wake up and be my best, be at my absolute best, be at my absolute focused, empathetic for your audience before I take the stage. It's stewardship, not only of finances, but of your energy, your emotions, and the company's time as well. So get that out of your mind, that stewardship is synonymous to deprivation. Stewardship is synonymous to poverty mindset. Get it out. Just reframe, erase that story to move forward. There's another great part in Luke where John the Baptist is teaching. I'm sure you've heard this scripture before, and it goes in, it shares that whoever, and depending on the translation, it might say tunics, it might say shirts, coats, what have you, coats probably. Whoever has 2 tunics is to share with him who has none, and whoever has food is to do likewise. So there's this underlying tone of operating out of enoughness, operating out of contentment. And Tuesday night, come back here at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be going live in this Facebook group with one of the best marketing and business coaches, George Khao, and he talks about joyful productivity and serving others. Really taps into the spiritual side of marketing. And he really hits home this point of charging from a place of enoughness and serving from a place of contentment and not of this excessive mindset. And this scripture really hits that point home, that whoever has 2 of something, share one with him who has none, and whoever has food to do it likewise. And I think so many Christian content creators, podcasters, authors, coaches, bloggers, vloggers, or those of you that have ministries that you're trying to monetize, nonprofits, 501c3s you're trying to start, and you're starting to monetize your nonprofit businesses. I think so many of us aren't even at this place. I think we are a level below this, and we're coming into the game. I don't need any money. I'll give away my books for free. I'll give away my blogs for free. I don't need any of it. I just take it all. Like, no, that's not sustainable to you spiritually, emotionally, physically. it's not a sustainable way to serve others, especially in the realm of content creation. And those that you're serving are missing out of entering into a beautiful value exchange that we'll get to in just a minute. I want you to think for a minute. If you heard on the news that St. Jude's Children's Hospital just got this ginormous donation of $6 million, and that probably in the big scheme of things isn't that big of a deal, but they're going to use this money to find so many more cures than they ever thought possible. How would you feel about hearing that radio announcement? Chances are you would be ecstatic, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this institution is going to be able to serve so many more people. So it's going to save so many more lives now that it has these funds. This is similar to you and your content creation. Finances are tools that are going to enable you to extend the reach of your ministry to serve so many more people. And that calls for excitement, extreme excitement, and taking simple steps to start viewing it as such will rewrite the stories you tell yourself about money and charging and monetizing, and will help you move forward with more confidence. It does feel a little weird when you're a solopreneur, when it's all on you as a content creator. In a sense, you have to be both the doctors, in a sense, the doctors and the scientists researching these cures and serving being at the bedside of these children, and also the fundraising department. Or for a better analogy that will hit more at home, you have to be, as a solopreneur, as a spiritually attuned go-getting content creator, you have to be both the Jesus putting out the content, and you have to also be the Mary Magdalene, the Susanna, and the Joanna getting the funds and sharing the funds to sustain your ministry. You gotta be both of them. You have to getting to a place where you're comfortable with being both of them. And just holding that at the forefront of your mind, that your finances are the income that you are receiving for your content, whether it's through Patreon or GoFundMe or PayPal or Ko-Fi, however it is that you are, Venmo, however it is that you are getting funds from people. Patreon is amazing for content creators. We just got on the bandwagon with our podcast and are excited to learn and grow more. I also know bloggers use it as well. And so explore that, Patreon and Ko-Fi, Ko-Fi, to start monetizing your work, and viewing that the finances as adding value and extending the value to the ministry that you're doing through your content. Which leads us to our great point. That was a really long transition. Lo siento. Okay, next point. Number 2, view it as a true exchange of values. View it as a true exchange of values. When you get comfortable enough to start charging for your book, you're seeking donations for your podcast, or on Patreon, having special episodes that people have to pay for on Patreon to get access to those episodes, or you're charging for coaching sessions. When you get to that point, you most likely get there because you started viewing it as a true exchange of values between you and the person that you're serving. The other day, my babysitter was here, one of our friend's 14-year-old daughter. Because of COVID, I'm working from home more, and they were Sophie, the babysitter, and my daughter were playing store. And when my daughter Henley and I play store, most of the time, this might show bad parenting and how much I had to grow as a businesswoman. when Henley and I play store, so often I will say, okay, how much is that? And she goes, oh, no money, just take it. And I say, oh, okay, what? I love this store. This is so great. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, my daughter is so giving. This is awesome. Well, then the other day when I was working and overhearing the babysitter play with Henley, Henley said, or Sophie said, how much does it cost? They were playing store, and Henley said, oh, it's nothing. Just take it. And then Sophie, this very wise shaman of a young person, said, no, it doesn't work that way. That would be stealing. And ridiculously simple, but mind-blowing experience for me that I have been missing out on teaching my daughter the beauty of value exchange is that, yes, I as the customer, I as the client coming into this covenant of sorts, I'm going to exchange values with you. I'm going to give just as you're going to give, and I'm going to take and you're going to take. And there's this true value exchange that must be at play as a sign of commitment for each party involved. So to help you get to this point where you're comfortable with charging for your content and you're comfortable monetizing your ministry, here's some things to think about that helped me get to this point. And this is a huge can of worms. I'm going to try not to open it that much just because I think that calls for another video. But think about your product, your content is helping people. Most likely it's going to help. Well, I'm 99% sure it's going to help them solve a problem. It's going to help them explore a question. So you are going to be saving them. You're going to be collapsing time for them. You're going to be collapsing 4 years, 7 years, 2 years. Think of that. Isn't that amazing to think about how much time you're going to collapse for them? Think about how helpful you and your content are going to be for them. Also think about how much mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual energy are you saving them? You're saving them all this energy with your content. And I'm going to back up to this one for a second. So if you think about an example for myself, from my perspective, is a lot of the tips that I share in my book, I Am My Own Sanctuary, How a Recovering Holy Roller Found Healing and Power. A lot of the tips that I share in that book that are about tapping into the divine within to take back power over your life from others. A lot of those tips took me 7 to 10 years to learn. And now people have them in the 6.5, 7 hours it takes them to read my book. So should I give my book away for free? Maybe occasionally, yes. Coaches tell me no, but occasionally. But should there be a value exchange for all of that, the 7 to 10 years of time that I'm collapsing for them? And I'm sure you could do the same with your own content. All that, the mental and physical energy that you're saving them, the years of heartache with a toxic relationship that the tips in my book are going to get rid of, decrease that number of years of heartache, because they'll have tips with setting up healthy boundaries with people, with toxic people. So start thinking these kind of questions. If you're in a place where you're thinking, it would not be the kind Christian thing for me to do to charge for my content. I should do it out of the goodness of my heart. And there is a time for that, but that's not sustainable. Another thing to think about. This is again coming from my perspective, and you have your own necessities and things that you have to think about as priorities. think about how much do you need to pay for quality childcare so you can go record that life-saving podcast? How much money do you need to save up to get your elderly parent to move into the house next to you or into the assisted living apartments down the street from you? How much is that going to cost you? Because that's what you need to do your job well and to show up well and serve others well. Is you might need to know your elderly parent is safe and loved and happy, or your kid is safe and loved and happy. So think about these things. How much do those things cost? And thinking this way will get you thinking through these questions, and you need to add a pen and a calculator to it, will get you to the point that, oh yeah, I need to be charging for this. Or, oh yeah, doing a 6-week online course, it's 45 minutes a day, not counting weekends, a 6-week course that I really don't enjoy, and it doesn't give me life, and it's not in line with my zone of genius, and I'm only making $125. Yeah, that not only does it not feel right in my soul or my gut, but mathematically, I'm making less than $2 an hour, and it's taking me away from my husband and my child. Yeah, this doesn't add up. So start thinking through these questions. Get a pen, journal about it, pray about it, sit with it. And you'll start to understand that there needs to be a true exchange of values occurring, not just showing up like I was when my daughter and I would play store and stealing or letting someone steal. And again, there is a time for free content, but in order to be a sustainable content creating, people serving machine, you need both free content and paid content. The third step I would encourage you toward is to view the beneficial end of your income. And this was kind of already talked about above in number 2 a little bit, but it's this idea of when you dream about all the fruitful ways the tools of your finances could be used, what are those beneficial ends? So for me, when I first wrote my first book, The Bluebonnet Child, 4 years ago, the forefront of mine was I want to pay off my seminary loans, and so I can keep on affording quality childcare for my daughter Henley, so I can keep serving others well. And then this past year, as I've shared, we had 3 deaths in my family in 6 weeks. So I now have a new motivation to serve others through a true value exchange where I am making more money so I can fly home to visit my Texas family more, because we've had so much loss, and my soul needs to be closer to them. They need to be closer to me. And so that is the big beneficial end that I'm thinking of as I am still overcoming a little discomfort of a money block as a content creator. Okay, another thing is that I have always supported, whether it's been through time, talents, finances, supported the ministry of Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So they offer mentors for kids of troubled homes, and I want to do this more financially, and I would love to harness more money, more finances their way, because I have a big heart for the work that they do. And maybe as you think about this, you might be thinking of, I have a call on my heart to be more hospitable. I want to host more people. So I'm going to, when I'm charging for content, I'm reminding myself that as I enter into this true value exchange with customers or clients or readers, their finances income that I receive is going to go toward a bigger house with a nice guest room so I could host more people. This is a value of mine that the tool of money can help me with. So those are 3 tips, these different ways of viewing things that so many, I noticed this in myself 4 or 5 years ago. And I notice it now in a lot of content creators that I coach, that there are these these three steps that we discussed today need to be viewed differently. So we need to start viewing money as a necessity, just like Jesus did for our ministry. We need to view it as a beneficial end. What's the big outcome that it's going toward? And then what was the second step? I can't remember what the second step was. View it as, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna have to back up. Who wrote this script? Start viewing it as a true exchange of values. A true exchange of values. So those are our 3 steps to get over your money block as a content creator and start getting comfortable with charging. Now, I still question exactly what to charge and who's right. And this video isn't telling you what to charge. This video was to help you get over your money block as a good old Christian and start monetizing your ministry. So there are differing opinions around this, and I felt like this was an appropriate end to the video, was to share my own questions. I have worked with different business and marketing coaches in the past 5 years, and they have differing opinions. And in fact, once again, come back with this Tuesday night here at 5. It's a different time this week, 5, just because of George's schedule. 5 Central Standard Time. George Khao, authentic marketing business coach, is going to come in, and I've read his book. He has more than one, but I only have one of them. I've paid for his trainings online. I follow his YouTube channel and his blogs, and have learned so much from him. And I can't wait to share his wisdom with you as a spiritually attuned go-getter. It'll serve you very, very well. George, to me, is very much like Jesus, in the sense that George comes in the business game and he says, kind of like Jesus, you might have heard it this way, but I tell you. And so George does that a lot, and he really rocks the boat of the business and marketing game in a good way. And I go back and forth on these differing opinions. So when it comes to what to charge, some business coaches will tell you to sit with a pen and add up all the hours that you have spent creating this content that you're serving, that you're about to sell. Add up all the hours, add up all the cost of books that you paid, add up all the sacrifices that you made, all that you paid for gas and childcare in this, however long it took you. As I shared earlier, for example, in the book, I Have My Own Sanctuary, I in 6.5, 7 hours of listening to it, you're going to easily collapse 5 to 7 years of your life, because it took me that many years to learn the tips that saved my life in taking back power from others in my life. I share in that book. And so I'm saving people so much energy. I'm collapsing time. Well, there are some business coaches that state you need to add up all those hours and all that money and then charge according to that. And I know that our guest Tuesday night, George Khao, would disagree with that. And he states, I'm going to butcher his explanation, but he disagrees greatly, and others that operate out of the same school of thought as him do too, of charging what you're worth, because we're all infinitely worthy, are we not? And as spiritually attuned go-getters, we play this game a little differently. And so I go back and forth on what system to use to figure out what to charge. I would say what has helped me the most, and I hope that it helps you too, is to get out there, and I should have typed these steps out, I apologize, is to get out there and research what other people are charging, what people that are your niche mates, they're serving a similar audience as you, they are serving similar, have a similar message as you. They're your niche mates, and that's George Khao's term, not mine. Give him all the credit for that. George Khao, sorry. And research what they are charging, and then see how that feels for you. For example, I took a Facebook ads class one time, and it was $100 for 6 weeks, 45-minute Zoom session each week. And that's an amazing deal, phenomenal deal. And then it was actually put on by George. And what he did then was he's a marketing beast. He's a marketing expert. So there was probably 75 to 100 people in the course. So it was so many people in the course. So he was able to charge less and still serve people well. And it was, to me as the consumer, I felt like it was way too much information in that short of amount of time. And so I did not learn as much as I wanted to. And I'm not stating that it was wrong. It was incorrectly priced or correctly priced. It was a smart business move on his part. And because he did serve a lot of us well on a budget, and it's sustaining his ministry that is serving so many. And so then there are other coaches that I know, and one of them I have worked with, and they charge around $100 an hour session, and that an hour a week, and that feels that felt good as a bottom dollar for me, hearing that. And then I've worked with other business coaches that are around $2,500 to $3,000 a month, and that's an hour a week. And for the time that they have collapsed for me and the energy that they have saved me as coaches, that level of investment is totally worth it in my mind for all the ways that I have been forced to grow and learn. And so it took me getting out and researching what other people are charging, and then trusting myself for how it feels, trusting my intuition, my gut, whatever word you want to use, how it feels for me and my family, and the value exchange. And I know another coach, an author, that she charges $600 for an hour phone call. And to me, that's, when I first heard that 5 years ago, I was like, that's asinine. But as I've gotten to know the work and all the time that she's saving people, and time she's collapsing, energy that she's saving for people, and lives that she's just, the years people are going to get back of, she's a parenting, she helps people parent better. They're gonna, it's truly life-saving work if she could teach a parent to better honor how their kid is wired. That's going to lead to such a happier home and a more emotionally healthy adult, and that as that child grows. And so now I'm like, okay, I get it, 600. But it took me some time of being in the game and meeting with clients and helping people write books and helping people market their content and help recovering holy rollers become spiritually attuned go-getters. It took me some time in the game to feel. And I want to encourage you to trust that too, that if you are feeling in a value exchange relationship that you've undercharged, you'll feel it, and trust yourself to know it, to trust yourself to feel it, and trust yourself to move differently and know, okay, it was really hard for me to show up and make this episode, or show up and meet with this client. And it's probably because you were undercharging. And so it was really, really hard for you to give up date night with your spouse to go create this content or meet with this client. And that is a huge red flag that you've undercharged, and you can move differently next time. And that's all part of the game. It's all part of the process. I want to end with this story, and because I know I was basically rambling in the past few 20 minutes or whatnot. Just, I wanted to be honest with you about my own views that I hear business coaches on every end of the spectrum on tips for charging. And I don't know if I 100% agree with those on the left and those on the right, that those are those who I think are undercharging and those who are overcharging. I do know that where I am now in what I charge to coach people in content creation and content marketing, I feel 100% comfortable and confident in. And I don't know if that price will increase over the years or not. And I'm really thankful that I'm at this place now that I understand the value exchange that needs to take place. And at the same time, I want to share this funny story with you that I think has a lot to teach us about monetizing our ministry. There is this psychologist, YouTube star, you might have heard of him, Ralph Smart. He has Infinite Waters as his YouTube channel, and I love him, and I want to grow to emulate him as a YouTube personality, as someone who goes live a lot to serve his audience. He's just amazing, and love his content, love his presence, love his energy. And so after seeing a lot of his videos, I noticed that he just had a book come out on Amazon, and this is the cover. And I was so excited. I loved his content so much on YouTube that I wanted more of his content in my life. I had felt so connected to him. His content served me. I want more of Ralph Smart's content in my life. So I went to Amazon. I saw the book was $17. I didn't even care. I was like, put it in my cart immediately. I want that now. And so I'm so excited. And I have to tell you that my book, my latest book, I Am My Own Sanctuary, it's on sale right now for like under $8 on Amazon. But when it first came out, it's around $19, and it's a 264 page book. So 264 pages for $19. And in my mind, that's a great price. It's with a publisher. Money is going to other parties. And my first book was also with another publisher. Money was going to different parties. It was around a 104 page book. So it was $14. And so I'm thinking, subconsciously, I'm thinking of this. Okay, $17 book. Most likely it's going to be around 200 to 250 pages. I did not know that it was self-published. So that makes a difference too, because if you self-publish with CreateSpace on Amazon, you get 90% of the royalties. Whereas with my first publisher, every $14 book that sells, I get 86 cents with Whiff and Stock. And my second publisher, I know authors are listening to this, and so I won't just giving you all the details. With Choir Publishing Company, I get $4 to $6 a book for every $19 book that sells. So I did not know Ralph Smart self-published. Actually, I should have guessed by the cover. Beautiful art. I would have changed the font though. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I am so excited to get this book. And once again, I loved his content so much, I would pay anything to have more of it in my life, period. And I'm saying all this because I want you to start to feel that your readers, your listeners, your clients are going to feel the same about you. And if that takes a while to sink in, take a big breath and accept that as truth, that your readers, clients, listeners, they are going to feel the same way about you and your content, that they don't care how much it costs. They're going to invest whatever to have more of your content that the divine is pouring out through you. They're going to pay whatever to get that more in their life. So I can't wait to get this $17 book. In my mind, it's going to be a big one, just like my second book was, because the prices were around the same. And my daughter and I get home one day, and there's a really thin envelope in our mailbox. And I tell Henley, I'm expecting a book to come in the mail. And my genius 5-year-old says, that can't be a book. It's too thin. It must be a letter. I said, you're right. It must be a letter. I should have been showing my face right now, but I stayed up way too late last night because it's my birthday weekend and I'm still in pajamas, and I did not want you to see that. So, but I wish I could share. I show you. This is not a book. It's a pamphlet. Flipping thing is so thin and tiny. It's not a book. It's a pamphlet. I paid $17 for a pamphlet. Now here's the dichotomy, or the life of the paradox is, I'm going to share through the feelings that I have about this $17 pamphlet. I feel that on some level, I feel that I overpaid. This is not fair pricing. $17 for a pamphlet. Based on my previous experience with book sales, this is not fair pricing. And at the same time, so I need to sit with that and learn from that this is not fair pricing. And what are you thinking, Ralph Smart? And then at the same time, I'm also thinking and equally feeling that he pushes out so much life-saving free content, totally free content on his YouTube channel, Infinite Waters, that has helped me so much that I would pay whatever to support him and to have more of his content in my life. And I love having this little pamphlet by my bed. And he connected to me so well that I didn't second guess the price. I didn't even think to look. How long is this pamphlet? I mean, book. I felt so connected to him and the content he created. It served me so well. It spoke to my pain. It solved the problem I needed solving. It explored the question I wanted to explore. I felt so connected with him and how he was serving me through his content that I wanted to rise to the occasion as a consumer and make a true exchange of values with my finances. Boom. That was so good. I can't even repeat it. But I think that's a great line to land on. So I hope that this has served you. Tag me below in the comments, and I want to answer questions. I'm sorry I can't see who's commenting because my phone's downstairs. I'm on Zoom, going live for the first time. I'm learning. But I will tag me below and I will answer your questions, and join us. Here's join us Tuesday night, this Tuesday night, 5 Central Standard Time. It's a different time than usual on Tuesday night for authentic content marketing and joyful productivity coach, George Khao. He's phenomenal. Build an engaged audience for your personal brand through integrity and generosity. You will love him. You will love him. So bring your questions, come back. George has a YouTube. George has tons of free content on his blog, georgekhao.com. So get his book, take his classes. He's phenomenal. It'll take your business to the next level.